Sawadee good morning. Welcome everyone to Thai Union Group of first quarter year 2020 Opportunity Day สวัสดีครับทุกท่านขอต้อนรับทุกท่านสู่ Opportunity Day ของ Thai Union Group นะครับผมประจำไตรมาส1ปี 2020 นะครับThis session will be conducted in English so this is mostly for foreign investor แต่อย่างไรก็ดีนะครับผมเราจะconduct Opportunity Day ครั้งนี้นะครับเป็นภาษาอังกฤษนะครับแต่อย่างไรก็ดีสำหรับนักลงทุนชาวไทยทุกท่านนะครับผมกรุณารบกวนฟังและถ้าสมมติมีท่านใดมีคำถามนะครับฝากคำถามไว้ในกล่องคำถามได้และทางผมนะครับผมพลังวัยนนท์จะชี้แจงคำถามนะครับผมเป็นภาษาไทยในช่วงตอนจบได้นะครับขอแนะนำตัวก่อนนะครับผมบรรลังก์ วยานนท์นะครับผมเป็นผู้จัดการฝ่ายด้านหุ้นสัมพันธ์บริษัทไทยยูเนียนกรุ๊ปจำกัดมหาชนนะครับวันนี้จะมาพรีเซนต์ในส่วนของ Opportunity Day นะครับ and for everyone this is best Wayanon I am manager at Thai Union Group today I will presenting the first quarter year 2020 result for Thai Union Group thank you very much For the result, I would like to go quickly to the highlight during the first quarter of this year. During the first quarter of year 2020, we have recorded a very strong sales growth on the back of course, the COVID-19 pandemic. This is offset most of the weakness in other key areas. So as a result, we have reporting sales of 31 billion Thai baht. Which is increasing of 6% compared to the same period of last year. This is we have seen a strong growth, especially from the canned business segment, whether the canned tuna, canned sardine, and we also saw, on the other hand, due to the city lockdown and closure, restaurant closure, we have seen some of the weakness in terms of the frozen business due to the vast majority of the customer of food service. But still, as a result, the frozen business has saw a small decline of sales by 5% compared to the same period last year. In contrast to the Ambien seafood, which is a canned business, which has delivered a 16% revenue growth. So, on terms of the gross profit, we have delivered an improvement in terms of gross profit margin by about 1.2% compared to the same period last year. We delivered gross profit margin of 16.2%. This is in contrast to about 14% in the same period of last year. So as a result, the gross profit has been at 5 billion Thai baht, which is up by 15%. And nonetheless, we continue to be very cautious about the cost control and SG&A. So as a result, SG&A ratio was down in terms of the SG&A ratio to sales, down to 11.3 compared to 11.4%, and due to this cost saving and cost conscious initiative, we have reported operating profit of 1.5 billion Thai baht, which is up by 50% compared to the same period last year. However, on the net profit wise, we have reported the net profit of 1 billion Thai baht, which is down by 20%. This is arguably both due to two key factors, one of which is the FX losses that incurred during the quarter. This is happened due to the sharp depreciation of Thai baht against key currency. So as a result, in the near term, when the Thai baht depreciates, we normally recognize FX losses due to our FX forward position that we have on hand. However, with the weak Thai baht going forward, we're expecting our operation would be more encouraging due to the weak Thai baht normally is associated to strengthening of the competency of the Thailand exporter. And on the other hand, we have the Red Lobster investment on our portfolio, which is a large chain restaurant in the US, which was really affected by the city lockdown. A lot of stores has been closed for dining. However, we continue to deliver off-premise and delivery sales to cater to the US consumer. Nonetheless, we have the net profit has suffered by 20% compared to the same period last year. But I still would like to highlight that our core operation remains solid. In terms of on the next slide, we continue to see that the same thing I've been mentioning just now. This is year-to-date operation, but we are in the first quarter, so the number is very much in line with what I've been just mentioning. And here I would like to say that our net debt to equity, our balance sheet continue to remain very strong with net debt to equity of just 1.05. This is compared to 1.07 at the end of year 2019. So we continue to pay down debt and we continue to report a profitable operation. So our balance sheet has continued to be strengthening. And on next slide, we have demonstrated here the long-term profitability trend of the company, as a lot of people has been following Thai Union would have been aware of. First quarter is normally a weak quarter. First quarter during the year 2019, we report a margin of 14.9%. First quarter year 2018, we report a margin of 11%. And first quarter year 2017, of course, the similar 14%. However, during the first quarter year 2020, due to the surge in demand, due to the self-quarantine, the social distancing initiative, and people, a lot more people, consumers around the world is cooking from home, we have seen the margin has been very stable. Okay, over the last 4 quarters, we have managed to record a very stable gross profit margin at around 16%, and that has been a key push in for our profitable operation. On the next slide, now we go into the recent development. We have seen, we'll just try to address this issue up front regarding COVID-19. We have seen some impact in some of our business, and some of our business also receive a benefit out of it. But in all, Thai Union Group has worked with the facilities, with all the employees around the world, first to ensure the business continuity and staff safety for all of us, for all of the Thai Union Group people, so that we can make sure to continue delivery of our food product to consumer around the world, and ensure business continuity. We acknowledge that the food is the key element item and factor that help everyone go on and live on with their life. So we will make sure to our best of our ability to ensure that the supply chain remain unbroken, and that has been what we have been doing so far. On Ambien seafood business, we continue to see a strong sale push in all regions. Clearly, we have seen some of the increase in people buying the shelf-stable food to make sure that they can do well during this tough time. So practice social distancing. A lot of people are kept at home. So we have seen a very strong push in terms of the frozen, the canned business in our operation. On the frozen business, while we also see the similar trend from the retail side, we continue to see a strong growth of our frozen shrimp, frozen salmon through the retail distribution channel. The sad thing is that we have seen the food service operator, food service customer, like in the of restaurant, hotel, caterer, airline, are suffering from the city lockdown, travel ban. So as a result, we have seen some of the weakness in terms of the frozen and chilled seafood business that has been recorded as the sales declined by 5%. However, to note, this has been largely offset by the Ambien or the canned seafood business, which has delivered a sales revenue growth of 16% over the same period. On the next slide, and regarding COVID, on the policy and operational level, we have implemented a very rigorous cash preservation program to manage the COVID-19 effect. With the situation with as high certainty as it is, we are very committed to preserve cash and make sure that our business continues to operate as usual. So as a result, we have established a cash preservation team to make sure that we have reviewed all the business unit and all the transaction has been going through to observe the cash position of the operation around the world. We have reduced capex, capital expenditure by 25% across all business units, and all of the procurement that has a high value above $1 million is now scrutinized and reviewed weekly to make sure that there is no fraud item, to make sure that there is no leakage, and our business can be continued as usual. SG&A expenses has been reviewed and prudently managed. We have been very focusing on both the receivable to make sure that all our customers are still doing okay. We've been calling up our customer to check on their financial health and to ensure that we can collect our revenue as we have selling them product, and of course we have to make sure that our inventory is very well controlled. On the next slide, now that we are having our operation continue to pursue most of them as usual, we have also extend our help to our neighboring community, whether in Thailand, in UK, in China, in France, in the US. We have delivered our hand, we have supply and provide support in terms of both food and equipment that we have and that we can produce to the community in needs. We have acknowledged that this is the hard time and this is not the time to be talking about profit and make the most out of the situation. So we have been providing tons and tons. I mean, in Thailand alone, we have provided 1 million, no, actually more. Let's say more than 2 to 3 million baht worth of product has been given out in Thailand alone. That does not account for the fact that we have been making contribution around the world. In the US, we have been donating over 500,000 cans of tuna. So we are very serious about this, and we are very committed that for us and the consumer to thrive through this situation together. And outside from COVID-19, we continue to focus on other usual normal initiatives. On the next slide, we have continued to conduct the Space F of Demo Day Food Tech Startup event, which we continue to support by any means. I mean, this event has been hosted before the city lockdown in March, so I mean that has continued to happen. But after that, we have been investing in some of the startup food tech that we have seen promising, and we continue to work with the innovation to ensure that we continue to deliver a good value and an innovation in seafood space to the world. On the next slide, and of course, we have not forget the sustainability commitment. Right now, we are expanding our sustainability commitment and statement to cover the climate change. And Thailand has become the first food producer and the first Thai listed company to join EP 100, which is the global initiative on smarter energy use. As a result, we have committed to double our energy productivity by the year 2041. This is based on the year 2016 baseline, so we plan to be more efficient in terms of energy usage. We also joined this EP 100 Cool Challenge, of which we are working to reduce, to cool our operation in the most energy efficient way. So, and as part of the result, we have been planting more than 7,000 trees in around the world. I mean, this is in coordinated with major corporations around the world in order to fight the climate change. We acknowledge that COVID-19 is one of the serious and on-the-spot situation, but we have not lost focus on our long-term commitment to the sustainability issue, the sustainability initiative that we've been working on so far, and we will continue to pursue that to the long term. Now, I would like to discuss the financial results. We are moving to the first quarter year 2020 key takeaway. We, as mentioned earlier, I mean, top line sales, we have been continuing to deliver growth of 6%. We have seen can business continue to sell very well. Volume sale is even more impressive. We are growing sales volume by 6.7% compared to the same period last year. If we account for the Ambien seafood, which is predominantly canned tuna, the sales volume has been up by 24% compared to the same period last year. So as a result, the gross profit margin remains strong. Our cost control remain very tight, and as a result, despite the SG&A expenses increased by 4%, this is behind our sales growth of 6%. So as a result, the expense ratio has been more efficient, and operating profit line has been improving. The non-operating item, as mentioned earlier, has been unfavorable, mostly due to our investment in the restaurant chain and the FX losses that incurred during the quarter. On the tuna price trend, on the next slide, we have seen the tuna price trend. A lot of the investor has been flagging concern that the tuna price has been up very rapidly over the last 4 or 5 months, from around $1,000 to at the end of last year. Right now, it is now sitting at about $1,400 per ton. I would like to say that, I mean, as highlighted on this slide, it is very clear that at $1,000 per ton is clearly way too low. We acknowledge that that is not a normal price level. So at a normal guideline that we believe the tuna price at around $1,300 to $1,700 per ton is a reasonable range. So a recent bounce, despite a strong bounce, has just got the tuna price back into its normal band of operation, and that this has been substantiated by the fact that our operation has continued to be robust during the first quarter of the year, and we have deemed that the current tuna price is at the appropriate price level. And on the next slide, on the sales side, I mean, this is more graphically visible to everyone. I mean, the only key point I have not mentioned earlier is the fact that the Thai baht, despite it has been depreciating toward the end of the third quarter, at the end of the first quarter, the end of March, if we compare on a year-on-year basis, Thai baht has continued to deem as appreciated against the key currency, whether US, the euro, the pounds. So I mean, with the reported sales of 5.9%, if we take out the currency impact, we should have been delivered a sales growth excluding currency impact by almost 8%. That is 7.6%. So that is the key message that we continue to deliver our strong operation, even despite amidst the tough time as it is. In terms of the sales breakdown by business, on the next slide, number 19, as we've seen here, the tuna business, which is mostly canned tuna, has been growing very robustly. Sardine business, the salmon business, part of which is a canned business, are also reporting a very solid growth during the first quarter of this year, up by 17%, 21%, 30% respectively. However, on the other hand, due to the city closure, due to the food service operation, has to limit their service ability, leaving out with only the delivery option. We have seen the shrimp business, lobster business, salmon business also report a marginal decline. And of course, I mean, this has been offset by the fact that a lot of the retail business that market through these products has continued to do very strongly, which offset part of the decline. So as a result, we have to report a sales revenue growth of 6% during the first quarter compared to the same period last year. In terms of the revenue mix, we have seen that the sales from the US and Europe has reported a very solid increase in terms of the mix, compared to the same period, compared to the like of year 2019. This is mostly due to the strong surge in the Ambien seafood sales. We have seen the canned tuna or canned seafood sales growing very strong in the US and European market, growing at by 9% and 15% respectively. However, the domestic Thailand market, after growing a robust 10 to 15% over the last 3 years consecutively. In the first quarter in the first quarter of this year, Thailand business has suffered some of the setback and declined by 10%. This is mostly due to the disrupted tourism activity in Thailand, and along with the city closed down, we have seen a lot of the food service operator closed down, and many of them are our customers. So the sales in Thailand has been affected. But in terms of the sales mix by branded and business, by brand and private label business, we have seen the branded sales has outgrown the private label sales. Okay, we have seen the branded sales increase by about 12%. That has been very remarkable. This is due to the fact that we have owned a key brand around the world, whether the John West brand, which is the #1 canned tuna brand in the UK market, Petit Navire, which is #1 canned tuna brand in France market, and Chicken of the Sea, which is a major, one of the leading canned tuna brand in the US market, which is a large market. So as a result, we have been benefiting from the growth in the canned tuna sales in those markets, and the shift has been in the first quarter has been more in favor of the branded business. Has been up from about 41% during year 2019 to approximately 45% of the total sales during the first quarter year 2020. And as a result of that, the gross profit margin has been improving due to the fact that the branded business has continued to branded business is normally contribute a higher margin, so our gross profit margin has been improved as a result, and the gross profit has delivered a 15% improvement compared to the same period last year. On the next slide, on the operating profit, we have delivered, as mentioned earlier, due to the profitable operation, strong growth, we have delivered an operating profit improvement of 50%, now up to about 1.5 billion Thai baht during the first quarter. And I'll just go quickly here. A lot of points have been noted and taken down earlier. I'll just go to the net profit slide, slide number 24. But on the other hand, of course, with core operation, as said earlier, we have in the near term experienced FX losses due to the rapid Thai baht depreciation against key currency, and why that would be positive for the export competency, because a lot of our product is exported. It hurt in the near term. Okay, and as a result, that brings around FX losses of about 260 million Thai baht during the first quarter year 2020. And of course, we have our investment in Red Lobster that's been in the near term facing a tough time, a challenging time due to the fact that the US regulator has been closing down the food service operation in the US, at least on the dining basis. On the EPS, on the earning per share, we have seen the decline by about 26%. That is on the EPS slide when we have declined the EPS by 26%. This is marginally more than the decline of net profit. This is due to the accounted for the perpetual bond interest expenses into the calculation of EPS. So as a result, the earning per share has been down by 26% to 20 Sam per share. And next slide on the Red Lobster, we have continued to monitor the situation very closely. We continue to work and collaborate very closely with Red Lobster. And as a result, despite all the dining hall has been closed pretty much toward the end of the first quarter, we have been pushing very hard into the cost control initiative, and we have been focusing on changing menu to accommodate the takeout and delivery sales and off-premise. And as a result, our off-premise sale has been growing by more than 3 times. So that has been some of at least the silver lining of this business, that despite a very tough time, the strong brand recognition of Red Lobster continue to support the business operation, and with our takeout sale increased by 3 times, why it won't be compensating for the whole operation, and we have to admit that the operation continue to be challenging. We continue to work very closely with Red Lobster to make sure that it thrives through the current situation. But back on the company corporation again, on the cash flow side, we have continued to deliver a very strong cash flow of 1 billion Thai baht with a strong cash conversion rate of 1.07. So that is pretty much implying that we can convert most of our EBIT of our operating profit of EBIT into the cash flow that we can receive. So as a result, we continue to commit to deliver a strong cash flow situation, and as a result, we believe that we continue to be able to have a financially sound and strong cash position to weather through the current COVID-19 situation. On the debt slide, from this slide, we continue to see that we have been able to managing the debt well over the past quarter. We continue to pay down debt despite the fact that we have reported a net profit of 1 billion Thai baht. Of course, I mean, a lot of that has to be allocated and adjusted for the potential upcoming let's say capital expenditure and all the cash outlay activity. We still continue to manage to pay down the debt by 200 million Thai baht. And during the first quarter, we have not really scaled down the capex as much. We should continue to see the impact of the capital expenditure curtail and reduction in the upcoming quarter. So we continue to monitor the cash flow position, the debt position of the company, and the balance sheet very closely. On the debt side, in by maturity, just to ensure, I mean, there has been a lot of concern about the risk of refinancing and the debt market. We do not have any debenture due to be refinanced this year, none. We have the first batch of the debenture that due to be refinanced by year 2021, of which you can see from the slide on the right, saying that there is only a fraction or a very small part of our long-term debt that has been due to be retired and refinanced by year 2021, with a majority, almost 80% of our long-term debt are due in year 2022 and onward. So we do not see any of the refinance or the debt refinance risk as of now, and we continue to monitor that very closely. On the debt, on the various ratio, operation ratio, we continue to observe the inventory day. I mean, on this slide, the key highlight inventory day and net working capital day. As you can see, I mean, on a tough situation as this, we continue to monitor the inventory day and net working capital day to make sure that we don't overblow our inventory. We are continuing to keep our stringent and very tight, and we continue to pay our manager and supplier on time. So as a result, our inventory day and net working capital has relatively unchanged, and we compared to the same period last year, it has been very stable. So therefore, there is no problem around that. And also, I would like to highlight that the net debt to equity has continued to be at a reasonable and favorable range at 1.05 times net debt to equity. And our net debt to EBITDA is now down to about 4.6 times, which is very, very close to our aspiring target of 4.0 to 4.5 times range. So at this range, we believe that we are very well on track to have the target debt ratio that we are setting up for. And in terms of the financial ratio by segment, I would just like to go through quickly here. On the tuna price, on the key operating factor, the raw material pricing, we have seen the tuna price is during the first quarter is down by 1% compared to the same period last year, and despite it's up by 50% compared to the end of last year. As mentioned earlier, this is just the the resume of the normal price level range for tuna. We do not see this as the cause of panic. We continue to operate business as usual. The shrimp price and salmon price is arguably relatively more resilient, and I'm sorry, and has become stable compared to the same period last year and quarter as a result. On currency-wise, we have seen that the Thai baht has been depreciating very sharply against all key currency. So while that could be beneficial in the upcoming quarter, in the current quarter, first quarter that we have announced our result, that the sudden weakness or depreciation in Thai baht has caused our operation to be affected on the FX impact wise, but I believe that we could have a clearer message about the impact of the weaker currency, especially the weaker Thai baht, when we announce the result in the upcoming quarters. Now we go down to the breakdown of our business. On the Ambien seafood business, we have delivered a very solid growth, 16% revenue growth. The quantity sales been up by 24%. The margin has been relatively holding up. From last year's 19%, it's been up by about 15 basis points to about 19.5% during the first quarter. So this is a very strong business that we continue to experience during the first quarter year 2020. On the next slide, in the frozen business, this is where we have seen some of the impact with the city lockdown and closure. Our sales is down by 5%. However, this is more partly due to the average selling price, as the shrimp price has been fallen, and salmon price in particular has been fallen during the March month, where the country city was locked down. The key that I would like to focus here is that the quantity, the volume sales has been declined by only 1%. So this is where Thai Union has continued to make the best use out of all the distribution channel, and we continue to deliver a very solid growth in Ambien seafood, canned seafood, and we try to minimize any lost sales in the business that we see affected here. On the pet care and value added and others, we continue to see a regular growth. I mean, a usual stable type of growth, growing by 3% on sales wise, and gross profit margin has continued to be in a solid 25%. And with that, I would just like to go quickly to observe the geographic mix. Just try to end this quickly. There is some Q&A on the line. เราจะบอกอีกครั้งนะครับผมสำหรับ Q&A session ถ้าสมมติท่านใดที่อยากจะส่งถามมาเป็นภาษาไทยนะครับรบกวนเชิญได้เลยแล้วเราจะพยายามตอบคำถามตามภาษาที่ส่งมานะครับผมสำหรับทุกท่านบางท่านที่อาจจะมีข้อสงสัยเป็นภาษาไทยและไม่เชี่ยวชาญภาษาอังกฤษมากนักนะครับ Okay, and now we're back for the geographic sales and operation. The US has continued to deliver a very strong growth. Growing by 8%. This is due mainly to the Ambien seafood sales. As I said earlier, we have the brand Chicken of the Sea, which is the leading canned tuna brand in the US market, has experienced a very solid growth of 29%. On the other hand, we have the frozen business. I mean, the frozen seafood distribution chain under brand Chicken of the Sea frozen food. That business has been affected by the food service shutdown. But as a result, due to the diversification of our distribution channel, we have seen the sales affected by only 4%. So as a result, in the big portion of things, the US and Canada sales continue to deliver a very solid growth of 8% compared to the same period last year. On the European market, on the other hand, this has been very canned business predominant. We have brands like John West, Petit Noir, Malibu, Palmentier, King Oscar, and Harvester, which is all the leading brand in their respective market in European country. So as a result, our sales have been growing a very strong 15% compared to the same period last year. And I mean, if we take out the currency impact, it will be even higher. So I mean, this has been a key contribution for this revenue growth, along with the U.S. business that has been growing very strongly throughout during the first quarter year 2020. Now we're back to Thailand. Why we have to admit that our business has continued to deliver a strong with our delivery business continued to strong growth and select product like select tuna has continued to deliver a strong growth. It is constitute a small part of our company total sales, and the Q Fresh, which is online frozen seafood brand, has experienced a very phenomenal growth. But still, I mean, the large part of our domestic business is still tied to the food service operation. With tourism down, the food service outlet closed. We are experiencing quite a challenging time. Sales down by 10% of the domestic Thai market. So we are hoping that this situation should unwind and improve better once the government allow the city to open up again and the food service operator can up and running as usual. For the rest of the world, I mean, we have seen marginal impact, sales down by 1%. We have some market that we experienced some challenging time, like the China market, which has seen some of the first and big widespread of COVID-19. A lot of people have slowed down their purchase. But on the other hand, we have seen the sales into some of the market which has contained this situation relatively well early on and until now. I mean, like Japan, we have continue to see a strong growth up to as much as 19% during the first quarter. So this has been partly offset, and as a result, for the rest of the world, our sales has been very stable and down by only 1%. For the segment profitability wise, we have reported sales of 31 billion, and with a strong gross profit margin of 16.2%, we have reported gross profit of about 5 billion Thai baht. Okay, and with that, I would like to go to for the business outlook, I would like to say here that during the current situation, which has very fluid, and no one really know how will COVID-19 and the extent of the impact that it could make to the world and to our company ourselves and to our customer, of course. We are not be able to comment on the outlook of the company on the medium term. However, we are going to focus all our attention on the cash preservation to make sure our company can operate on an ongoing basis. We are continuing to give the number one priority to the health and safety to our people and employees. And of course, we continue to ensure that our operation can continue to be operated so that we can deliver the food to the global consumer. So there is not enough information to provide regarding the business outlook at the moment. And on that, I would like to go for the Q&A regarding the Q&A session that has been coming in, and we'll respond them one by one. ตอนนี้จะขอตัดเข้าในส่วนของ Q&A นะครับผมถ้าสมมุติว่าท่านใดมีคำถามกรุณาส่งคำถามมาได้นะครับ and for anyone who has any question please feel free to send the question to this channel. We'll try to respond them one by one. ข้อแรกนะครับผมมีคำถามว่ายอดขายที่ตั้งเป้าไว้ 3-5% ยังเป็นไปตามเป้าหมายหรือไม่นะครับตอนนี้เนี่ยอย่างที่แจ้งไว้เบื้องต้นนะครับเนื่องจากประเด็นของโควิด -19 นะครับเราไม่สามารถเราจะไม่ provide ในส่วนของ guidance นะครับผมในส่วนของ guidance เนื่องจากสถานการณ์ปัจจุบันยังเต็มไปด้วยความเสี่ยงอย่างมากมายนะครับผมแต่อย่างไรก็ดีทางบริษัทยังคงที่จะ make sure ว่าเรายังสามารถดำเนินธุรกิจต่อไปได้อย่างไม่ติดขัดนะครับผมแล้วก็เรา provide safety measures ต่างๆมาตรการความปลอดภัยต่างๆเพื่อ make sure ว่า operation ของเราคนของเรานะครับผมยังคงดำเนินงานต่อไปได้ตามปกตินะครับas one of the largest seafood companies, situation somehow will remain for some time. What will be the company preparation? We have been preparing. It's not entirely exact, but we, as a food company, we have always operated on the highest hygiene standard forever. We have been make sure that there has, regardless of the COVID-19, we have ensured that our operation is free from any and all contamination all this time, whether the hepatitis, whether any disease or any contamination into the food. So we have continued and we continue to operate that, whether on the food standard HACCP, IFS, BRP. I mean, all those are the highest global food standard, and we will continue to do so. In the current situation, although we have been adding some of the additional measures to make sure that all our facility and employee are safe, whether about the temperature checking, whether get on the bus, our corporate bus, or getting into the factory, and we have required our employees to cleaning their hand in the disinfectants every once in a while. We are making sure that all our employees' health are looking after. Okay, so I mean we are with all those measures coming in, we believe that we can continue to operate as usual. สถานการณ์ติดเชื้อของพนักงานในกาน่าส่งผลกระทบต่ออย่างไรต่อบริษัทและบริษัทจะทำอย่างไรกับผลิตภัณฑ์ที่ผลิตจากกาน่านะครับตรงนี้เนี่ยเราณปัจจุบันเราคอนเฟิร์มนะครับผมว่าบริษัทนะครับผมมีในโรงงานผลิตที่กาน่าของเราเนี่ยมีเราคอนเฟิร์มว่ามีผู้ติดเชื้อโควิด -19 นะครับผม1คนนะครับผมแล้วก็ที่เราตรวจพบได้ตั้งแต่วันที่17นะครับแล้วก็หลังจากนั้นเนี่ยเราก็ทำการปิดโรงงานทันทีนะครับผมณปัจจุบันนะครับผมเราก็ทำพอเราปิดโรงงานเราได้มีการทำ contact tracing นะครับผมเรามีการ identify คนที่มีความข้องเกี่ยวมีการติดต่อกันนะครับผมทำความสะอาดโรงงานและก็เราตอนนี้เนี่ยเราก็กำลังทำงานร่วมกับทางหน่วยงานสาธารณสุขที่กาน่าอย่างใกล้ชิดนะครับผมปัจจุบันเราก็ยังรอในส่วนของผลการตรวจโรคของพนักงานที่เหลืออยู่นะครับอย่างไรก็ดีเนี่ยในส่วนของผลกระทบนะครับตรงนี้เนี่ยเราประเมินว่าในผลิตภัณฑ์ที่ผลิตจากทูน่าในส่วน capacity เนี่ยในช่วงเวลาที่เราคาดว่าจะมีการปิดเนี่ยน่าจะส่งผลกระทบประมาณไม่ถึง 1% นะครับผมไม่ถึง 1% ของกำลังการผลิตแล้วก็กำลังที่เราขายนะครับผมในระยะเวลา1ปีนะครับผมเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยในส่วนของกำลังการผลิตดังกล่าวเนี่ยถือว่าเป็นส่วนน้อยและอย่างไรก็ดีเรามีฐานการผลิตทั่วโลกนะครับผมไม่ว่าจะเป็นโรงงานที่ซีเชลนะครับผมไม่ว่าจะเป็นโรงงานที่โปรตุเกสแล้วก็โรงงานที่ประเทศไทยที่พร้อมนะครับผมที่จะ step up ในส่วน capacity ไปเพื่อช่วยนะครับผมสนับสนุนให้กิจกรรมการขายและกิจกรรมการผลิตโดยรวมถึงลูกค้าของเราเนี่ยเป็นไปได้ที่ได้รับในการที่จะได้รับสินค้าตามปกติเป็นไปได้อย่างไม่สะดุดนะครับผมเพราะฉะนั้นในตรงนี้เนี่ยเราพยายามที่จะจัดการกับในส่วน supply chain ของเราให้ได้ดีนะครับผมแล้วก็สุดท้ายนะครับมีคำถามว่าทำอย่างไรผลิตจากเราจะทำอย่างไรจากผลิตภัณฑ์ที่ผลิตจากกาน่าณปัจจุบันนะครับผมยังไม่มีหลักฐานทางวิทยาศาสตร์นะครับผมที่บ่งชี้ให้ว่าในส่วนของเรามีการติดเชื้อจากทางอาหารนะครับผมเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยในส่วนของสินค้าเราก็คงยังไม่มีอะไรนะครับdue to the coronavirus outbreak and competition in the business, how can the company assure investor to invest in the company? We have done everything we can to make sure that we are protected and our operation continue ongoing. And despite the coronavirus outbreak and tough competition in the business, and coronavirus has already break out in the February, I mean on the large global scale in February of this year. And even so, we have continued to deliver a very strong operation. Our operating profit, our sales continue to grow by 6%, even including FX basis. Our operating profit has continued to deliver growth by 50%. We continue to deliver a profit of 1 billion Thai baht. So I would not say that we need to do anything. We are just committed to continue to operate our business as best we can, and I believe that has already been witnessed in the first quarter result announcement, and for the second and upcoming quarter, I guess you have to see how things pan out and how things work out. How TU has any plan to expand in the other area? I would believe that that probably related to geographic market. We are continuing to explore the growth in the new market, but as mentioned, we have already have a large footprint in the US, in European continent, in Asian continent. We also sell a lot of product to Australia, so obviously the new market will always be at the target that we're looking for, but on the current situation, we would like to really focus on serving our existing customer and make sure that they are well looked after and taken care of. ยอดขายจาก region กระทบจากสถานการณ์มากที่สุดนะครับผมอย่างที่พูดก็คือมันมี mix measures กันไปนะครับผมประเทศไทยนะครับผมโดนเยอะสุดลดไป 10% นะครับผมแล้วก็ประเทศเนื่องจากกิจกรรมการท่องเที่ยวที่ลดลงนะครับผมตรงนี้อย่างที่ชี้แจงว่าต้นมีแผนที่ลงทุนเพิ่มใน region ไหนอีกบ้างหรือเปล่าตอนนี้เราคงจะโฟกัสในเรื่องของการลดการลงทุนแล้วก็เก็บเงินนะครับผมตอนนี้เนี่ยเราคงจะโฟกัสในเรื่องของการที่จะ keep current business มากกว่านะครับเงินลงทุนและกระแสเงินสดปัจจุบันยังแข็งแกร่งหรือไม่และมีแผนเอาหุ้นกู้หรือชำระเงินคืนสถาบันการเงินมากหรือไม่นะครับผมกระแสเงินสดปัจจุบันยังแข็งแกร่งอยู่มากนะครับผมไตรมาส1เนี่ยเรามีกระแสเงินสดถึง 1,000 ล้านบาทนะครับผมเป็น free cash flow นะครับผมมีแผนออกหุ้นกู้หรือไม่อย่างที่แจ้งนะครับผมเราไม่ได้มีหุ้นกู้ที่ต้อง deal for refinance ในปีนี้นะครับผมดังนั้นเนี่ยตรงนั้นก็คงจะไม่มีความจำเป็นในส่วนการชำระเงินคืนเราได้ชำระไปละ200 ล้านบาทในไตรมาสแรกนะครับผมแน่นอนนะครับสำหรับธุรกิจของไทยยูเนี่ยนเรายังถือว่าสถานการณ์ปัจจุบันยังคงเป็นปกตินะครับเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยเรายังคงเดินหน้าชำระเงินคืนสถาบันการเงินตาม schedule payment schedule ปกติครับในส่วนของตอนนี้เนี่ยคำถามในนี้หมดแล้วนะครับผมจะขอชี้แจงว่าถ้าสมมุติว่าท่านไหนมีคำถามเพิ่มเติมนะครับผมเข้าใจว่าในภาวะที่สถานการณ์เป็นอย่างนี้ถ้าเกิดท่านมีคำถามเพิ่มเติมกราฟต่อได้ทางเว็บไซต์นะครับผมลองไปเช็คดูทางคอนแทคหรือว่าจะต่อทาง IR ทาง IR นะครับผม assign.thaiunion.com เป็นอีเมลนะครับผมwe understand that the current situation is tough and very volatile. Everyone that should be a point of concern. So should you have any question that you would like to reach out for IR department of Thai Union Group, please reach us out at our email at ir@thaiunion.com. And we try to respond to them as quickly as possible. Thank you very much for your kind participation, and I would like to end our Opportunity Day discussion here. ขอบคุณมากนะครับผมสำหรับทุกคนที่เข้าร่วมในครั้งนี้ถ้าเกิดยังไงเนี่ยก็ขอบคุณสำหรับความที่เข้าร่วมนะครับผมสวัสดีครับ